This is our 18th video, and we're going to be going over how to create a simple building that you can do multi-stories with, just as an example for if you need some ideas for the project. So what I'm going to do in this one is I'm going to go ahead and open up a new instance of Blender. And so I'm going to put that up in scene. I'm going to just resize it a little bit. And we're going to go, and first of all, we're going to take this cube. I'm just going to do Shift D, and I'm going to make 3 of these. And then I'm going to rename them 2 as well. So I'm going to hit N to open up the navigation menu. I'm going to resize this a little bit larger. There we go. And I'm going to go down to where it says item. Once you have that lined up, by the way, and I switch from object to object, that'll be in the same spot. So we're going to call this top, or I could say roof, whatever you want. And then I'm going to call this one middle, and this one base. Okay, and again, not going to go into a lot of detail here, but just to get you started. If I want to figure that the cube height is the height of a floor or one story from the building, then I can tab in and use this to kind of edit my building. So what I did in the last one was I actually, for that model, I created some loop cuts, did 2, and then I did S, and the Y is right there, so I'm going to say Y and pull it apart a little bit. And then I'm going to, this will be a little bit different than my last one, which is fine. And I'm going to select these 2 panels. I'm going to hit I for inset. And then I'm going to do S and Z just to shorten those up a little bit. I'm going to bring them up. I'm going to go to individual origins and scale them a little bit larger just because that seems a little bit small. I can grab the arrow tool to move them down, whatever I want. For this, I'm going to hit I, and I'm just going to move this in like so. And this is a bit tall, so I'm going to hit Escape to cancel that. I'm going to do Control R. I'm going to put in a sideways edge loop. I'm going to move it down pretty low, like so. And then I'm going to go to face mode here. I'm going to click on the bottom one. I'm going to hit E, extrude this out like it's a step. I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to hit I for inset, put a little border around that, and then I'm going to hit E to pull it back a little. Okay, and maybe I'll even hit Alt. So I hit Alt and selected the line that's diagonal there. It selected that edge. It selected that loop basically of faces, and then I could actually even do E to pull it out just a little tiny bit. I'm going to go into here again. I'm going to add a couple more loop cuts, and then I have Escape. I'm going to have individual. Basically, I have individual origins on. So if I do S, Z, and 0, it's going to give me nice straight lines. Let's do S and Z. Actually, I'm going to do change this to medium points. So I do S, Z, and I'm going to pull this up a little bit and pull this so that it's like right around there. Basically, what I wanted to do was get the faces here so I could actually take them and hit Shift D and then Escape, E for extrude, pull out a little bit, maybe make them look like shutters. I can hit L to select all the linked vertices on those. Pull them a little bit away from the wall so you can create some shadows just for fun. So anyway, whatever you do with these, that would be one thing that I could do to make that stand out a little bit. I'm going to switch this to Cycles Renderer, and then if I hit Z, Shift Z, I can see a little bit of what it looks like. Okay, and I'm going to hit Shift Z again. And again, you can play around with it a lot. This one I'm going to make a bit simpler than the other one. I'm going to tab into this one. And then maybe I'm going to do Control R, put in 2 loop cuts this way, hit Shift Z, not Shift Z, hit S, Z, and pull those up like so. Do Control R, add 2 loop cuts, hit Escape. I'm going to take the faces here and select, not the middle one, select those 2. I'm going to hit I for inset, and I'm going to put some links there. And then I'm going to take this other one, I'm going to do I again. If I had paid attention to what number I had, I could make sure that they were all the same. But that's okay. And so then I'm going to take the faces here. If I hit E for extrude, pull them in just a little bit, I now have some kind of simple windows. Maybe I'm going to take these, and I'm just going to hold Shift down as I select those parts. Go ahead and select that even though they're linked together. I'm going to hit E. Actually, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate it. Okay. Move them out just a little tiny bit. I'm going to hit E again. And then if I want to, I could take the faces along the top here, hold down Shift, and select each of those. Just like that one. Again, as much detail as you want. You know, it's kind of fun to mess around with. I can do SZ0, which makes them flat, and I'm going to go down to this one. Do kind of the same. Clicking on the black dots is what you need to select when you're actually doing the face selection. Give or take close to it is fine. Usually if you're zoomed really far out and you're trying to do a precision thing, you really need to zoom in to select it. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit SZ0 again. That'll find the average. Makes these a little bit taller than the windows, which actually is not a bad thing. And then if I hit Shift Z, I can see what that looks like. So that gives me some shadows there, which is kind of nice. Up the top here, I'm going to go Control R, and I'm going to put in a couple of loop cuts. I'm going to hit Escape, and then I'm going to go to Face Mode. I'm going to go and select this one at the very top. I'm going to go down over to the Tools panel here, and I'm going to select Extrude Region Vertex Normals, because that'll pull them all out equally. If I want my buildings to line up side to side really well, then I probably don't want to do that. I can just do Control Z, and I can select these, hit E, pull it out a little bit, and so I'll do that for this one. I'm going to tab out. Okay, so I got it kind of like that. I'm going to go to this one now. I'm going to tab into it, click, and drag this all the way down, and hit tab. So now, since I have this over here, I'm going to call this one roof, and then click off of it, select this one. This one's going to be middle. Might want to do more details than that. That's okay. And then this one we're going to call, actually base works just fine for that one. So I didn't finish renaming all those. Again, with middle one selected, once I do my, go to my properties editor, add modifier array. Let's make that larger. And I'm going to pull this over a little bit. Okay. I can select my type of offsets. So I'm going to do 1 here, like so. Oops, turn that off. And I'm going to do 0 on top there. I'm going to do a start cap that's going to be my base, and I'm going to do a roof cap that's going to be the top of it. I'm going to go back into this one, hit tab, and I'm going to go take this part, I'm going to extrude it out a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. I'm going to hit I for inset to bring that in like so. I'm going to select that, select this one, hit E, pull those up, and maybe I want something else in here. Who knows? You know, you can do whatever makes sense to you. Once you tab out, that'll be on that building. For whatever reason you want to design it that way, it's up to you. It's your building. So take some time to put some detail in. You can do additional details on this as well. Hide the roof and base so they're out of the way. And then, for instance, if you want to, you could even add another array. And if I take off the, not that one, if I go down to my new array modifier, and I select 0 for that one, select 1 for the side, I could make a line of row houses that goes a long, long, long way. I could do Shift A, add a sun lamp. So I'm going to go down to where it says lamp, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on sun. I'm going to go and rotate this around like so. I'm going to do Shift Z so I can see a little bit of the shadows there on my building, going into the distance and infinity and beyond all that. We can make it longer, or we can make it much, much less. Okay. So anyway, some tools to work with. Play around with it, see what you can create.